Now, if you guys have noticed, I'm sure you have, the Guerrilla with a cause thing. You've seen the logo, the beginning and end of some of the videos, and there's a lot more to come along that route. So what does it mean? Well, first on the simplicity level, Guerrilla is spelled in its homonym. It's not gorilla as the mammal, right? It's guerrilla as in guerrilla warfare or, guerrilla rebels. And the reason for that is in this game, if you want to succeed, it takes intelligence and it takes strategy and it takes tactic. That's how you secure you acquire your goal, right? How you get what you're shooting for. It's more complicated than what a lot of people realize the further along you go. You have to have a strategic and tactical approach. The other thing is that, most of society, when they look at us from, outsiders, okay, I think of a lot of guys that are, dreaming of one day their big goal is they're going to have 20-inch arms or bigger, or they're going to be the biggest guy in the gym. And I talk to people and I ask them things sometimes, what do you get out of lifting? I mean, what are you trying to accomplish? And I have actually been told by guys that are kind of just starting out or been lifting a little while that, I just want to be the biggest guy in the gym one day, man. I can't wait to be the biggest guy in the gym, or I just want to have 20-inch arms or whatever. And what I usually think to myself if I don't say it is, okay, then what? All right, so you get to be the biggest guy in the gym. What's that worth? I mean, what do you do with that? All right, you get a set of 20-inch arms. How does your life change? Then what? What happens after that? Then what's the next goal? Right? I mean, there's more to life than walking around with 20-inch arms. It doesn't make you special. It's not going to make those guys special when they get there. And truth be told, a lot of people that have that kind of attitude, they may not even get there. They probably won't get there, because you're going to have to humble up a whole lot on the way. If you want to stay in one piece and avoid injury and be disciplined enough, accomplish enough, practicing enough discipline to get there. I know myself, I know some mass monsters that are just huge guys, and I'm going to start featuring some of them. And some of these young guys coming up around here are just enormous. I mean, huge, like 270-ish. I mean, big dudes. And not fat. That's big. And I don't know any really huge guys that feel that way at that size. I haven't seen one yet. None of us walking around feeling like we're something special just because, we got 20-inch arms or bigger, or we're 270 or 280 or whatever it may be. It doesn't make you special. Most of society could care less. They don't think it's cool. They don't want to be you. They don't look at you enviously. You're just a freak. You're just, to most of them, you're just something they can't understand. It seems odd and weird and, all other sorts of things. And in today's world, everything's steroids. So they think you're a drug addict and that it's just drugs and that anybody could do it. That's what they really think. They don't know what all's involved in it. So to these people, we're pretty much just gorillas. We're just gorillas. So the whole point with the gorilla with a cause is that you got to be more than just a gorilla. If you want to be a gorilla, hey, that's awesome, man. I'm there with you. I'm a mass monster. I love it. I like being a gorilla. But if you're going to be a gorilla with a cause. There needs to be something more than you. There needs to be something you care more about than 20-inch arms. Now, I'm not saying you can't be obsessive, you can't go after it. You kind of got to have some of those attributes just to get there. With the eating you're going to have to do, and the meal preparation, and the fucking training and busting your ass. That's fine. It gives you something to focus on, keeps a lot of us out of trouble. But you need to be more than that. There has to be something that means more. You have to keep it real. You have to stay in touch and stay humble and understand that the world doesn't revolve and the sun doesn't rise and set on you having 20-inch arms or me having 20-inch arms or any of us walking around like this. That we're not that special. We may be somewhat few and maybe somewhat, elite in a cultish way, but we're not that special just because of that. That's not what makes us special. So one small thing I think we could all do more of, myself especially, it's talking about me, I'm not just talking about anybody else, is we can be a little more patient. We can be a little more accountable for our actions and behaviors, things that we say. It's a very negative place out there sometimes in society. And it can be very irritating. Just driving through traffic for me over here can be very irritating sometimes. And I got to catch myself all the time, but more than the average person because of the way that I look and because I stand out, and I can't blame society for it. I've done this to myself, right? I know I look unusual, but because I look like this, I have more eyes on me when I go out. And people who may not have contact with guys like me, they're going to look at everybody the same based on how I behave. So in some regard, it may not be fair, maybe it is, but I think it's important that we try to set a really good example and be a little extra friendly to people, We need to get more people to join us, not more people to look at us, as some kind of fucking freaks. So that's just one small portion of what I think Guerrilla with a Cause is about. It's kind of just a loosely formed, bunch of us guerrillas that, we want to stay focused to remember that there are plenty of causes. There are plenty of things that each of us individually care about and as a group care about. And, everything from, just any little thing we can do to make anybody's day better, right? I mean, it can just be an encouraging word. It can just be a nod. It can just be, anything. It's not going to kill us. But I think that we need to set a new example and maybe try and change the trend and build more camaraderie among our own kind and people in the gym. I mean, we all share that in common. It's not just us. It's not just the gorillas and the mass monsters. It's all of us. We all share that in common. We're all in that gym for a reason. We're all in there for a goal, or it may be all different, but we have that in common. And that's more than we have in common with just the average person in the street. So I think it's always better to be a little nicer, right? Guerrilla doesn't have to go around acting like, some kind of fucking savage, some, uncivilized creature. I mean, it's already a fucking gorilla. Nobody wants to fuck with you to begin with, right? You don't have to go out and act like a hard ass or tough guy or nothing. And again, we aren't the guys that really behave that way. The guys that think you need to behave that way are usually the busters in the gym anyway, and they're usually the ones that intimidate everybody, and keep a lot of people out of the gym. I mean, look at all these people with handicaps and disabilities, really obese people and even really skinny people. I mean, there's all kind of people that, that things about them stand out. Things that they don't like. They don't want to stand out, right? I mean, we chose this. We did this to ourselves. So it's on us. But there are a lot of people out there that could benefit from coming into the gym. And we need to get these people. We need to set an environment, or at least be personas that may help to bring these people in, to make them more comfortable. I've worked with people with traumatic brain injuries that have like a disconnect neurologically, where they don't have, very much control over portions of their bodies anymore. And I mean, it's just revolutionary and amazing what just lifting weights, the repetitive movement over and over and over again, can do for some people with these kind of injuries. I know from experience, from working with them. I knew a guy that, a friend of mine that we took under our wing, that he got hit by a tractor trailer in a snowstorm when he was riding an ATV. And he would walk very slowly, talk very slowly. He couldn't even he just shuffled very slowly. Clearly something wrong with him, physically. And people stared at him and he was uncomfortable and he didn't really go anywhere because he stood out in a way that he didn't want to stand out. And even though his brain was intact, he didn't have the same access to his body to control his musculature. He couldn't even speak properly. And after less than a year of just repetitively training with us, just again and again and again, that brain can find ways to rewire itself and still accomplish the task. It just relays these neurological pathways. And after no bullshit, after just about 11 months or so, you would never know it was the same guy. He could walk across the room, and if there was anything funny about his gait or whatever, you probably wouldn't pick up on it. Even his speech improved. So, there's a lot of people out there, man, that need to be in the gym. So I'm just saying that's my thing. Your thing may be something else. If it's the same thing, that's great. But there's got to be something each of us can do, even if it's just a small little word of encouragement. right? So that's what it's about, and that's just the start. There's going to be a lot more to come. A lot more things I want to do that are a lot bigger and actually just not talk, but actually trying to get something done. But this is where it starts. So I just wanted to kind of explain, what it's about. And that's what it's about. So if you're going to be a guerrilla, then fuck it, be a guerrilla with a cause.